Okay, thanks, Tian. So I spent more than 10 years now blogging about data visualization. So most of my blog is about data viz criticism. What I want to talk about today is sort of my research interest is really in the idea of how do you actually use data visualization to make decision-making more effective at organizations. So I take a pretty specific perspective from that point of view. So here's an example of something that would show up on my blog. This is on the left side is an original chart that was a 6 pie chart-like objects that are laid out in a horizontal thing, but I actually have to cut it up to fit it in this page. But basically, the question that the chart was supposed to address is how has the ebooks affected the book market in 6 different countries in the world. So the one on the right, which is the improved chart, brings out the message much more clearly. You can see immediately that Britain and the US is where ebooks have made a dent, pretty much becoming more than half of the market projected anyway by 2018. And the other 4 countries, the ebooks are not actually doing too much. Now, this is a very standard way of improving charts, and typically you do this by altering the visual design. Nothing about the data has changed, and also we're answering the exact same question as before. However, when I've been doing revisualization for a long time, and I've found that a lot of the times, even after you change the visual design, it's actually not enough. There's a lot of other things that needs to be changed. So I'm going to give you some examples of this in this talk. A lot of my thinking around charts is really motivated by a framework which I've been calling the Trifecta. There's actually 3 corners to this triangle. I'm always thinking about what is the question that the chart is designed to answer, what does the data actually say about that question, and what does the chart actually say about the question, and you want to have all 3 corners here in harmony. So here are 2 charts that supposedly tells us about how the Federal Reserve governors have changed their opinions on when they would actually give us an interest rate hike over time. So the original one is essentially a data dump. It tells you every single governor and what is their point of view at any point in time in the last 10 or so years. What happened with the tune-up is that I decided to actually ask a question. The chart on the left does not address any question. So the chart on the right actually tries to answer 2 specific questions. One is, when did the median opinion on the Federal Reserve Bank started to change? And then the chart on the bottom is addressing the question of the diversity of viewpoints within the board itself. So you can see that over time, there is more and more convergence to the median view. So what I've done here is basically improving the chart by first actually imposing a question on the exercise, and then actually selecting the right visual design to actually get to the answer. So it kind of goes through in the trifecta. It goes started with the Q corner, it goes to the D corner, and then it actually ends up in the V corner. Here's another example. We see a lot of these maps on the left-hand side right now. These are delegate maps, and that's a Super Tuesday result in which Clinton essentially won all 5 states. The interesting thing here is this is a very misleading chart because all Democratic primary contests are proportionally allocated in terms of delegates, but this chart actually tells us that it is actually winners takes all because they're only a single color. So what I've done is to actually work the proportionality back into the chart on the right by using shading. So the way that this chart was improved is that I've actually added data to the chart, and then because of the added data, I need to change a little bit of the visual design to get to a better place. This is a chart that was one of these grabby charts from a while ago. This was a big data project where they took all the page views from this website called Pornhub, and they're going to tell us that Kansas is the place where far and away, its residents are in love with porn. Well, after it got published, what actually happened was that people discovered that, well, the Kansas number actually contained all of the residents in which we don't have an IP address. because there is a missing imputation issue here. All missing IP addresses were imputed to basically they think of it as the median value. In this case, it's the Centroid America, which is the middle of America, which is actually a town in Kansas. So again, if you look at this chart, the visual, the data, the question, everything is actually in line. The only problem here is that there needs to be a data quality check. So in this particular case, the key to improving this chart has nothing to do with the visual, nothing to do with the question. It's all about figuring out if you have the right data. I hope that gives you a good glimpse of sort of where I'm going with here. I'm hoping to get more sort of structure into this problem of what are the different ways in which we improve charts. It's not just about improving the visual. It's about asking the right questions. Sometimes it's about sharpening your question. It's a lot to do with the actual data and analysis that goes into the visual before the visualization is done. I think a number of speakers have kind of spoken to that point today already. Thanks for listening.